Hello, my name is Mike, and in this video you join me next to the all-new 2021 Nissan Rogue. This is a very important car for the brand because it is their best-selling vehicle out of their entire lineup. So, how good is it compared to the last one, and more importantly, how good is it compared to its competitors? To find that out, let's go for a drive. This 2021 Nissan Rogue has to make do with just one engine. It doesn't have any other optional engines like the Mazda MX-5, Mazda CX-5, or the Honda CR-V or the Toyota RAV4. Under the hood of this Rogue is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder that produces 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. That is a moderate bump compared to the last generation, but it is still on the low side compared to the Mazda CX-5 and the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4. All of those have more powerful base engines, and of course they have optional engines as well. While on paper it's not the fastest or the most powerful, in reality it kind of does feel slow, but you're never going to be impeding anyone's progress behind you. And on highways, put your foot down a little bit and the CVT reacts immediately, and the most that you're going to see is about 3,000 RPMs, which is pretty normal for a vehicle this size and an engine of this displacement. Fuel economy has improved over the last generation. It is now rated at 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway and 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers in a city. Currently, I am at 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers, so you can definitely achieve those targets. This being a Nissan product, the transmission is, you guessed it, a CVT. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm never going to buy a car with a CVT transmission. They're garbage transmissions. They're not really that garbage. Over the past few generations and iterations of this transmission, Nissan has improved it by quite a bit. It doesn't feel very elasticy like how the last one did. It reacts much more quickly. So if you put your foot down, it reacts immediately and gives you virtual gear shifts. If you're more gentle on the throttle, then it will behave more like a traditional CVT, as in it'll just rev up the engine to 2,000, 2,500 RPMs and hold it there until you accelerate to your desired speed. You can also put it into manual mode and use the paddle shifters, in which case you have a few virtual gears to choose from. And it's actually pretty responsive even in that mode. For the upshifts, at least. For the downshifts, not so much. But upshifts, yeah, they're pretty quick. Well, upshifts, they're fake virtual gears, so you know what I mean. Another improvement over the last generation is how this car handles. It's not on par with the Mazda CX-5. That is still the most sporty driving compact crossover on the market right now. But this one feels composed, and the steering is pretty direct and very responsive. Sure, there isn't that much feel to it, and it is on the light side, but that just makes it pretty much perfect for everyday city driving. The interior of the 2021 Nissan Rogue is a huge improvement over the last one. Now you get a full digital display in this Platinum trim, a much larger infotainment system. You still have physical buttons for the climate, and you get an interesting looking new shifter. There's also a lot of nice materials, again, in this top Platinum trim. There's leather across the dashboard, leather right here on the center console where your knees would most likely rest up against, and obviously there's soft quilted leather on these seats. And these seats are fantastic. They are so comfortable, one of the best in the business. A couple of things I want to highlight on this interior is firstly this sort of scratched looking material on the center console. It's not piano black, thankfully, so fingerprints and dust marks don't show up quite as badly as they do around the climate controls, because that still is piano black plastic. But this material, it's nice, and I think it'll stand up the test of time. A couple of things I don't like about this interior is the shifter and this drive mode selector. They look okay, which is fine, but as soon as you start touching it, it just feels cheap. Yeah, it doesn't really go all too well with the rest of this interior because it's really nice in here. Let's go to the back seats. Another big change to the 2021 Nissan Rogue is the amount of space for occupants inside. In the front, there's more legroom, and in the back, there's also more legroom. I am 6'4", so I am above average in height, but with this seat in my driving position, my knees don't feel squished up against the back of it, and there's still enough headroom for me. Granted, headroom is a little bit less compared to the last generation, but it's still enough. In the back, I also have heated seats in this Platinum trim, USB-C and USB-A ports, and I have my own climate control. Yes, this is a 3-zone climate control system, which is very rare in a car of this size. As well, the center pass-through is actually on the shallow side, so that's really nice if you have to sit in the middle. Oh, and also, it's got sunshades, or peasant blockers, as some people like to call them. Behind the rear seats, the Nissan Rogue can accommodate 1,028 liters of cargo and 2,064 liters of cargo with those rear seats folded. These are specifications with the panoramic sunroof. Without it, the capacities increase by 5 and 34 liters respectively. Also, loading stuff from the side or just getting in and out of the back seats is quite easy thanks to the almost 90-degree opening rear doors. The 2021 Nissan Rogue starts at $28,500 Canadian, and for your money you get a full suite of advanced safety and driver aids. These include forward collision alert with automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, blind spot sensors, and rear cross traffic alert. While a lot of auto manufacturers are adding automatic emergency braking as standard, most of the other advanced safety equipment are optional, so the Nissan Rogue has a bit of a leg up on the competition for a base model trim. Here in Canada, you also get an 8-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, heated seats, heated steering wheel, and dual-zone climate control. Upgrade to this 40,000 Canadian dollar Platinum trim and the 2021 Rogue becomes a compact SUV with every feature that you and your family will ever need. You'll get a panoramic sunroof, head-up display, surround view cameras, navigation, full digital instrument cluster, wireless Apple CarPlay, and a larger 9-inch infotainment touchscreen. Okay, time for some Instagram questions. This is where I ask you if you have any questions about the vehicle that I have for the particular week. And with the Nissan Rogue, there's 3 questions. First one is cargo space, bigger or same as previous? Well, if you leave the rear seats up, then it actually has a little bit less cargo space than the previous generation. But fold those rear seats down and you get more cargo space. Difference is only about 60 or 80 liters with the rear seats up and down, so it's not that big of a difference. Obviously, the biggest difference between this and the previous generation is in terms of leg space for both front and rear occupants. Second question, anything cool? I'd probably have to say the instrument cluster, the full digital instrument cluster, and the fact that you can change it between a more traditional dual gauge or the one that looks kind of like Beats by Dre in a sense, with the tachometer and the speedometer on the very side. So I think that's probably the coolest feature about this Nissan Rogue. And final question, would you buy this over the RAV4 or CR-V? And that question leads me into the conclusion of the 2021 Nissan Rogue. The Nissan Rogue is a heck of a lot better than what it used to be. It's not the most sportiest driving SUV. For that, obviously the Mazda CX-5 is still the one to go for. And it's not the most spacious in terms of cargo and legroom because the CR-V has that covered. But overall, it's just so much nicer, so much more refined. So would I take it over the CR-V or the RAV4? Well, definitely over the RAV4 because I personally do not like how the RAV4 looks both inside and out. It's a great SUV, but I just can't get past the looks. That's just something for me personally. As for the CR-V is a very, very good crossover. So it's really hard to choose between that and this. If it's the top trim, like you have $40,000, 40 and a bit thousand dollars Canadian to spend on a compact SUV like this one, then this one is the better bet because it just feels more premium on the inside compared to the CR-V Touring. And it's a couple $1,000s less expensive than the CR-V Touring. So if you're going for a top spec trim, Rogue is the one to go for. And if you want to know more about this 2021 Nissan Rogue, I wrote a comprehensive and detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck or probably be an SUV again. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.